You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salaam Radio. Salaam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Welcome to the Tech Factor, your weekly dive into all things technology. Joining me in the studio, we have Joel, our coding wizard, crafting digital solutions faster than you can say algorithm. And of course, it's Shamshad, your guide through the labyrinth of bytes and circuits. Gentlemen, how are you?
Well, good, thank you. Thank you very much. And yourself?
I'm okay, but what I'm seeing right now is that you're dismantling the mics.
You know what?
Okay, what we're going to do? We're not calling it that. That's definitely you. What we're going to do is going to switch you to the blue mic. Okay. And take the yellow away. That's so funny. I tell you what, Faisal, who's not here this evening, is going to see this on YouTube and be absolutely mortified. Oh, brilliant. So I literally did say that, didn't I, Joel? I said labyrinth of bytes and circuits. And, Sham is a labyrinth, isn't he? Of his own, right? Okay. Yeah. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Yeah, hello, everyone. It's fascinating listening to the ladies that you just had in.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good segment.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed. So, and Cham, sorry, I know you're sorting out your microphone. How are you?
Oh, good, mate.
Excellent. Do you feel suitably plugged back in?
I'm all right now, yeah.
Faisal, when you do catch up, I just want you to know it's Sham who did it, not me. Okay, so starting off with the first topic of the evening, it's Digital Afterlife Dilemma. In this episode, we'll tackle the often overlooked topic of what happens to our digital assets when we pass away. Now, did you know over 2.5 million Facebook users passed away in the first 8 years of its existence? From social media accounts to downloaded content, we'll discuss the various dilemmas surrounding our digital legacies. That's a staggering statistic, may I add, as well. And I know, by the way, this is Joel's topic. I remember when he first texted the group and I immediately started to think about celebrities who were impacted by this and how that came to the fore at the beginning. Remember, it usually takes someone high profile for you to think about what's going to happen to my assets, because usually what we're we're often thinking about, okay, what physical things, aren't we? House, money, and so on. When we're thinking about what's going to happen when we need to write a will, okay, and we often forget about other things, right? And if you're thinking about if you're writing a will today, Joel, you'll be thinking about all of your physical equipment, your PC, your laptop, your phone, any money you have in the bank account, and so on. Who's going to gain all that? But at the the forefront of your mind will not be things like your PayPal account. It won't be your Facebook account. It won't be your crypto. It won't be this music that you've just you purchased from iTunes. It won't be the apps that you purchased from Apple or Google, right? They won't be at the beginning of your thought process. You're not going to think, I spent £1,000 over the last 10 years on different apps. You're not, because that's not going to be something that's entrenched in your mind, because at that particular mind, it has no value to you. But it's really, really important, isn't it, to draw up an inventory. And this is something that we're going to be discussing this evening about, what should you do that will enable your money, possessions, property in the online era pass over to loved ones or a charity organisation and so on. Joel?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to hit you with another Facebook fact. I really liked yours, but during the research, I was actually shocked to discover there's actually 30 million deceased profiles on there at the moment.
Wow.
30 million
active
people.
30.
Active.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, so the one thing you can do on Facebook is you can memorialise yourself. It's one of the only social media platforms that allows you that when you pass, you can essentially sign it over to a loved one, and they will create a memorial of you where people can post messages and leave final respects and things like that. So yeah, that's good opener for the Facebook facts there.
That, yeah.
Wow.
Isn't there a famous case where, I can't remember who it was, I think it was in America, where the family had to take, I think it was Apple to court for something similar, where their family wanted to try and get access to an account.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm not sure if it was Facebook. I think it was Apple, yeah.
Okay. And this is what's happened. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I remember when we were doing our research and that, I think it was Bruce Willis. Yeah, it was Bruce Willis. He has a massive iTunes collection of different tracks and so on. And he wanted to pass that on to his loved ones. I'm pretty sure it's Bruce Willis anyway. And initially, this is some years ago, Apple refused to transfer the license, and then it became this huge story, and then they started to change the rules and so on. But it needed something like this to happen because, remember, as you both know, working in the IT industry, is that it's one license per user, i.e. one track bought by one person. That person owns that track, that license to that track, and it can't be transferred over to a brother or a sister because the company is going to lose out on revenue.
You definitely should read terms when it comes to paid subscriptions.
Yeah, but I mean, do people really?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I mean, certainly would you be looking for, if I pass away, what's going to happen to my software?
Nobody thinks about worst case scenario, do they?
No, they don't, do they? Okay, so, Paul.
Just to add to that, I mean, that covers everything from digital music to ebooks to films that you purchase through streaming platforms, because you don't actually own that content. You own the privilege to play that content, and that's why then that Google App Store or iCloud or whoever it is you purchased it from, Amazon, they can still remove that game, remove that film, and you've got nothing to do about it, even though you've spent money for it. But the thing is, because you don't physically own that as an asset, even though you may have spent thousands on it during your life, it's something that, from my research that we've done today, is something that can actually not be willed to someone else, as we've talked about, sort of thing. So again, like ebooks, music, films, and that kind of thing, you can't be sort of willed over to anyone that's inheriting it.
Okay.
Also, with you got your game subscriptions like PSN and stuff like that. So sometimes you'll get something like a game on there, and at any point, Sony can remove one of them games off of that system. You can't really do anything about it. Similar.
It is, but what I find interesting about that particular case is if you have spent a lot of money on a mobile game or any kind of game, and you've leveled that game up and leveled it, you can,
looking at you, Akeel,
you can sell that profile, can't you? For it must have an intrinsic value.
Yeah.
But when it actually comes to passing it on to someone, it seems that it hasn't got value because you don't actually own anything from it. You're just sort of licensing it. So
correct. So can I just, first of all, before I share this, can I just say, not me, okay? But there are people out there who have spent millions of dollars on mobile games, okay? There's a game that I play, and there are players on there who have literally spent millions of dollars. There was a guy that was playing that particular game. He was spending $10,000 a day. A day, every day. And what happened was,
people that keep these free-to-play games afloat.
Yeah, no, but you forget, but that model is staying now because Anyway, the point is, he died. Okay, this is what I'm going to explain to you. He was quite young, and I believe that for him to, his account was worth X million because of his level, right? He became, so I remember at the time the highest level in the game was like 3,800. By the time he died, he was on 7,000 and something. He leveled so fast that the developer past level 6,000 reduced the XP, experience level you get, per 1,000, so that people, because he was going faster than they could develop the game. Then he passed away, and what happened was that I think somebody who knew he was playing the game approached his wife and to take control of his account, because now his account, no one's touching it, it just laid there dormant, right? And I think they came to some sort of agreement. I don't think there was any money exchange, and that now someone else is playing that game. The person's in Australia, that person's now playing the game. And it got me thinking, and it just links into what, Joel, you just said there as well. The developer did not have anywhere in their terms or conditions what should happen if the player would pass away, if we were transferred, because actually what it had was, you can't transfer it. So if you spend $1 million on a digital app or a game or whatever it may be, you can't actually pass it on to a family member. And I think that's ridiculous.
It is. It's a little bit strange, because if you do have store credit online, Nectar card, that kind of thing, or cryptocurrency, they can actually be willed over.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're...
Yeah, like PayPal. Yeah, you can. They'll take instructions from executor of the state, and we'll send a check onto the new your whoever.
Why are you pointing at me when you said PayPal?
You're right.
So you can, but
it's still real money. So it's real money that the guy's been spending on the game, and it's also real money that you've got in your PayPal account and your crypto and things like that.
Even if though it's digital,
one can't be, but one can be, and it's a very I find that very strange when I was researching that.
Okay. So if we look at the typical things that people would use, then are we saying it's music?
So digital. What are digital assets? Good
Okay.
question.
So
So
yeah, I love how you asked yourself.
Yeah.
So if anyone just missed that,
Because you were just about to talk about what we're talking about.
I love that question you asked yourself.
So you're talking about bank accounts. So like for example, PayPal, shared, trading.
Yeah.
So like stockbrokers, online gambling, cryptocurrency. That's virtual currency as well. Content holders like iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, cloud storage. So we're talking about Dropbox, that kind of thing. Social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. And you were talking about in memoriam for Facebook. You can do the same thing, I think it's with Instagram as well.
Yeah, we're part of Meta, aren't they? So it's all part of the same thing, yeah.
Yeah. And then we're talking about email accounts as well. We're talking about, any kind of blog kind of intellectual property you've got as well. Government departments or HMRC, all of them kind of logins and details for that as well. Websites, domain names, online gaming. So it is a substantial amount of things.
Wow.
Our digital footprints now are
massive.
absolutely massive.
Right,
Yeah.
you know how I had a recent experience about this actually. I want to share this with you. So Apple sent me a notification to say that my password had been compromised. Okay, so I thought, oh wow, I thought my password. How did that happen? What did I sign up to or whatever? Anyway, I looked in, and almost all of my passwords, all of them, had been compromised. I thought, how did this happen? So I had to then go and change each one. Now, what Apple do is they bring up a list of all your digital accounts that you're using on our iOS device, and they actually make it easy. Just say tap, go to website, tap. So, for example, if it's iTunes website, blah blah blah. So, if you've got 70 entries, you don't, it takes you directly to go to just change the password. Okay. What I was surprised about was how many hours it took me to do it. It took me, I think it was about 4 hours to do this. And I was blown away. And now when Sham is just reading out that list of all these accounts, it is literally that. So what we're saying here then is a digital asset is everything that you've just described. It's an online account connected to a game, an app, or a service. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a fair summary.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what we're also saying now as well is that you, in this day and age, need to be conscious of these accounts. Should you want to pass these on to anyone else, or they will go with you?
Yeah, and not just passing on, but just letting somebody else know what you have.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they all live in our brain. They live in our browser history. Maybe they might have in our favorites in our browser or whatever. But I certainly know that if I was to pass away, they wouldn't know how to get into my laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the first obstacle. How do I actually access to see what digital assets Joel has got? Well, where would they start? My phone? Okay, so they need my thumbprint for that or a passcode. My laptop? Same. They need either a fingerprint or passcode to get into that. So again, taking one step back from that, it's how do you let your loved ones in a secure way which digital assets you've got, how many email addresses you've got, and all that kind of stuff. Obviously there may be some that you might want to talk about, but
So before you go to the solicitor, it's always good to talk to your family and let them know what you've got.
Yeah. And
what you don't want them to know, that's what your solicitor would know.
or cloud. Yeah. Okay. So what we're saying then is that it's a responsibility.
Yeah. So when you're drafting your will, this should 100% be part of your thought process of the will writing.
Okay. So before we get to the will, then what we're effectively saying is you need to draw up an inventory.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So you need an inventory that has, like you just mentioned, email accounts, subscription services, blog, store, or credit or currency cards.
Usually solicitors that do this kind of services, they can help you with this. And there are solicitors out there that will provide, they're specialists in the digital assets as well.
Okay.
So you can give them instruction. And it's also a good thing to think about is not to just use any solicitor. You want to go with someone that is tech savvy as well, that knows how to do all the stuff that you're going to ask them to do. So if you want to, say, for example, to do with PayPal, for argument's sake, or cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is very complicated. It's not like your normal thing where you have a user password, email, and whatever. It's
correct,
not,
No.
Not at all.
You have seed phrases.
Yeah. And you've got to have some, what they call them, digital wallets.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. So if you've got something like that, it's quite... what would I use? Say it's not as simple as just saying, "Oh, here's my username and password."
Correct.
Yeah, because anybody, if you give your solicitor the key to your crypto wallet,
it's gone.
It could,
Well, obviously, unless they're regulated, then there would be.
but the specialist firms, okay, what they do is you can sort of like I can't remember what the term is, but you can say to them that you can have a digital safety deposit box, okay, and in there are details of your assets that you want to be in there. Okay, and then these executors or whoever these companies are, they can then act on your instructions to say, okay, right, when I die, I want you to gain access to this digital safe and pass these details to this person, or donate this, on however you want to do that.
Yeah, so they're known as digital executors.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. And like you said, they'll be responsible for. So Sham, am I getting this right? They'll be responsible for closing, memorializing, and managing your accounts.
That's effectively what you want, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
including, like you just said, that you've got something dodgy that no one else knows. They delete it for you.
Exactly.
I reckon it's a secret recipe of something.
So when you were talking about that list, and you were saying, how long it took you for yourself.
Yeah.
Do you really want to put your family through that? When you pass away.
Oh, of course not.
Through all, and it's a lot of tasks to do with all them digital things. So yeah, you're better off paying someone to do that.
Okay. I have to say, there's going to be many people out there who struggled with this. Right, so my dad passed away. It's going to be 4 years soon, and obviously Joel, yours as well, right? And this, the last thing that's on your mind is their social media account. The last thing that's on your mind is their email. Well, I mean, email's important. Other things, like their digital identities and stuff. What is on your mind is making sure that their estate is correctly is managed, and in line with whatever their will was, or whatever that may be, right? But now we're saying, our generation is certainly saying, is that a lot of us is locked in the cloud, and we this is important.
It's not a concern for my dad, your dad, because it's not that generation. But our children, the children that we've got in this room, it's definitely something that they are going to have to contend with when we go. So it's up to us. At the ages that we are now, to make sure that it is as seamless as possible for them, as and when it happens, kind of thing. So longer the days of the drawn on the back of a fag packet. But instantly, thinking about sort of like trust and probate and digital executors and things like that. The other note that I've got here actually is about death certificates. So again, when my dad passed a couple of 18 months or so ago now, we were sort of like, how many death certificates do we get? So we're just like, we get 7 because, there's one for the mortgage company and there's one for the bank account and, various other sort of utility companies and things like that.
I think I've got 4,
Joel. And you have to send them to the bank to say, this has happened and this is the proof of it, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
In actual fact, quite a lot of the social media outlets as well also require a death certificate or a proof of death before you can take that account over.
And what's interesting, what Joel's saying, Sham, as well, is that so they ask you how many you want, okay, at the beginning, and then after that, it's difficult to get. You have to pay for all these things.
That's what I was going to say. Why do you?
It's about £11 each.
Why can't you just send that one and do they send it back? Or?
Each one, no. Each one wants the original,
and they keep it.
They keep it.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Keep it,
so this is something. 100 didn't know about this.
Yeah. And it can take. Sometimes you get them back, but it takes a long time.
Yeah.
So I didn't get any back, mate.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't actually think about it. Maybe we didn't either. But
so they keep it on their records.
Yes.
Yeah. So then, if you think about it, not only have you got the standard kind of like high street stuff, but then when you've got your online stuff as well, if I've got LinkedIn, I've got Facebook, in actual fact, I've closed quite a lot of my social medias that I used to have. But if everyone is out there, that's Snapchat, that's TikTok, that's whatever else you've got out there, and each one of those requires a death certificate for a loved one to take over that account. You need to take that into consideration. So you're going to have like a big stack of death certificates you're going to like fire out to each other.
Maybe there's room then for these organisations to allow, or they provide what's happened to my voice? I don't know. A digital technology that allows you to bypass having a physical copy, because we're only using their services digitally.
I reckon this would be down to the government, not to a third party already, because they're the ones that are issuing these things, aren't they?
Or flipping that then, how we use a passport or a driving license, which is then which then checks a database to say, yeah, this person has a license or a passport. Perhaps if when somebody passes away, there should be one death certificate which is issued, but different organizations can access the database. Not saying social media...
Like when you get a speeding thing. Or
I've never had one. Have you?
Not a speeding thing, when you're trying to
really?
share your license.
Yeah,
You know
that's
code,
what I'm talking about.
you know the code you get. Yeah, like that.
Oh, yeah. I like how you dodged that speeding question. Anyway, but no, I see what you're saying.
It does seem very old-fashioned. Yeah, you're right in having to have some sort of physical item that you then need to send to someone to prove something, when that could be also digitalized as well.
Yeah, because the reason why I'm saying this, Joe, you can open up
if it's a digital asset that you're trying to get in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah.
The reason why I mentioned this is because you can open up a social media account with a fake name and a fake email address, but then you need a legit physical copy of a death certificate. So there's an imbalance there.
There is, but maybe if you're creating fake ones, they're the ones that you're not going to tell your family about.
Oh yeah, Sham.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
Oh, you wouldn't, would you?
I don't know what you guys.
But not only that. So not only do you need to prove that person has then passed on, but you then need to prove who you are. So for the case of LinkedIn, and quite a lot of the meta social medias as well, you need to provide them with proof of death. Some sort of certificate or death notice, depending on your region, and then you need to prove who you are. So that's your driving license or passport or some sort of high-level identification to say I'm this person, and then some sort of proof of relationship with the deceased.
That you're entitled to that
marriage certificate or whatever that might be. So then you've actually got 3 steps. So it's not just about proving that person has passed on. It's about proving who you are and that you have an entitlement to their account to take it over and either turn it into a memorial or back it up and close it down.
Okay. So what are your thoughts on digital legacies? You can text the show on 07411 191 062, or you can call us on 01733 602 133, or you can leave a comment on our social streams. It's a really important subject, guys. It's thinking about our own futures right now. I've got some work to do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, before you finish on the subject, I wouldn't want to give a tip out as well about this. This is really an important thing as well. So you should regularly review and update your digital assets that you have. So keep, like you said, inventory, even just for yourself. Take some time out, do this, and then also, anytime, and these need to be revisited every time in the major life events, marriage, death, a birth.
Oh, that's good advice.
Divorce, anything like that. These things should be reviewed again.
Well, I'm just trying to understand what you did there. Marriage, death. I mean, divorce right at the end of having all of the stuff. No, but in all seriousness, I like this.
And acquisition of new assets as well, because then that means that whatever you've written as in part of the will, it has to be updated for this new asset as well. So and the main thing is to communicate with your loved ones. Yeah,
no, thank you, Sham. That is really good advice. That is actually, if you're preparing to do this, you need to, create an inventory, and look at what the estate yourself. What does your estate look like? And what is it that you want to share or live on or want to close, really? And do this while you have
your faculties.
Your faculties, absolutely. Now, this is great advice. And we'll dig deeper into, after the break, a little bit about an action plan, the things that you should do, the steps you should take to do this. But that's really, really sound advice there, Sham, considering you broke our mic earlier on. No, but jokes aside, I honestly feel like I've got a lot of work to do now. Now, I thought I was quite well versed. I'd shared a lot of passwords and information, but now I realise that's not enough. There needs to be a step-by-step, dummy-proof guide to allow people to access what we already use every day. That's going to be beneficial to our loved ones afterwards. That's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, and that can be just a notepad that you keep in your office drawer. As long as it's somewhere that you can instruct someone else where to access it. So at the moment, probably the closest I've got to that is my password manager. So within my password manager, I use one called Dashlane. Others are available. But one I usually call Dashlane has got pretty much my entire digital footprint. It's got all of the websites that I visit, and it's got all the username and passwords, and it's locked away, securely encrypted in Dashlane. And that's sort of like the closest I've got to something that would could be considered a list of digital assets and things that I use.
I thought, thank you, Joel. I thought Sham was signing up Dashlane just there.
No. I was trying to see, because it sounded familiar. I was trying to see if that was the one I've got now or the one I had before. Is the one I had before. With a different one, LastPass.
LastPass, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't they get compromised, and then they've been compromised twice, haven't they?
Which one was that?
LastPass.
LastPass as well?
Yeah, it's been compromised twice.
I think pretty much all of them
have.
Well, we've got the cyber security general in the building, so we'll go through that post-break as well, no doubt.
But the thing is, in a sense, anything that's man-made can be broken into by a man as well, so, or woman.
Or woman, yeah. Okay, all right, like a microphone. Okay, cool. I have to say, it's a fascinating subject, but I think equally, probably moreover, actually, it's a big responsibility now. Yes. I think if you're engaged in the digital world, which is pretty difficult not to be now, whether that's from your banking and so on, you need to be drafting this pretty sharpish. And hopefully, after our break, we will discuss, the steps that are required to be taken for you to do that, and reassure you that there is help out there, like Shamshad mentioned, about organisations, solicitor firms who are specialists in this area. So don't overthink this, but do take this very seriously, that if you don't take the steps now, your loved ones will be affected by your the inability to access their accounts. But we'll catch you after the break, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.
Where can you get high quality and low prices? Amar Food Store and Halal Meat in Lincoln Road Triangle is the place to go. Pay us a visit and take advantage of our special offers and great range of products on groceries, vegetables, fruits and halal meat. Also send money to Pakistan absolutely free. We have all top brands at special offers, offer free customer parking and provide a free local delivery service. Amar Food Store and Halal Meat, 613B Lincoln Road, Peterborough. Call us on 01733 687 374. High in quality, low in prices.
Satisfy your cravings at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant. Enjoy a tantalising variety of Chinese, Italian, Pakistani and comfort food favourites, from starters to desserts. Kids under 5 dine for free, so bring the whole family to our location at 63 Sycamore Avenue. Open every day from 5 p.m. till 10:30 p.m. Call us on 01733 313131 or book online to reserve your table. Ibrahimi-restaurant.co.uk. Every bite is a delight at Ibrahimi Buffet Restaurant.
Attention foodies! Discover a world of flavours at Pack Foods, the largest ethnic supermarket in Peterborough. Shop our vast selection of authentic ingredients from around the globe, including spices, marinated fish and meats, and exotic fruits at incredibly low prices. And the best part? We offer free parking. No more hunting for a spot. Come visit us today and explore the incredible range of flavours at Pack Foods, 232 Lincoln Road.
2020 World Buffet is inspired by the best foods from around the world. See our teppanyaki chefs grill your food to order, or choose delicious Indian, Italian, Chinese, Mexican dishes and British favourites, all halal. 2020 World Buffet offers you unlimited food at a set price. Open 7 days for lunch and dinner. Catering, wedding and party services available too. Call 01733 566 320 or visit 2020buffet.co.uk. 2020 World Buffet, 35 New Road, Peterborough, PE1 1FJ.
Discover peace of mind with Islamic wills from W&P Legal and Mariam Khan. Expertly tailored to respect Islamic principles and UK law, ensuring your legacy is honoured. We offer tax-efficient wills, probate, lasting power of attorney and more. Trust us for a culturally sensitive estate plan. Your legacy, our priority. Call W&P Legal now on 01778 252 301.
Masterminds Tuition Academy is for your high schoolers, your something to provers, your subject strugglers and keen learners, your brave jumpers and fist pumpers. Affordable personalised learning plans are delivered through our centres in schools across Peterborough. But not to worry, we also provide online and home visits with flexible timings. Whether it is maths, English, science or 11 plus, Masterminds is a must. Find us on all socials and visit our website, mastermindstuitionacademy.com, or call us on 07516 166 003. Masterminds, master the matrix.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115, or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
This is Salaam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Welcome back to the Tech Factor. We're having a discussion this evening about digital afterlife dilemmas. I'm in the studio here with our tech aficionados, Shamshad and Joel. Just before the break, we were talking about the different steps that you need to be considering. And now Shamshad will share with us the steps that you need to take to secure your history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we touched on this briefly before as well. Yeah, so the first thing to do is for yourself, get a full list of all your assets that you've got, usernames, passwords, and everything. Maybe not username and password, but first of all, get a list of everything that you've got.
So all the accounts?
Yes. So like an inventory of your digital assets, everything that you've got. Remember all the things that we mentioned at the beginning. So all of them kinds of things, and then decide what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep, and who you want it to go to. Mm-hmm. Once you've got that information, then you discuss this with your family as well. That when you're gone, this is what you want to happen with your digital assets, and then you go to a will writer or whoever it is, and you speak to them, and then you give them your instructions as well in regards to this. Now, you can use. What we were talking about is a digital deposit box. I think we will call it digital safety deposit box. These are online, and you can you get several providers for a fee. They will offer this to you, which can store your usernames and passwords. Now, what happens is when you pass away, these details will be made available to a nominated person that you have following your death. Okay, and there's a few examples I've got of providers for this. There's a company called Legacy Locker, Asset Lock, or my favourite is Death Switch.
What? Yeah. Death Switch? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Not Kill Switch, Death Switch.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Very good.
Now, there's also I don't know if about naming names of firms, but there's a legal firm that said that you may wish to include digital assets clause in your will as well. Okay. Now this could take the form of allowing your executors the discretion to decide who should benefit from any digital assets with monetary or sentimental value, or you may wish to be more prescriptive and leave certain digital assets to named beneficiaries. So it's obviously down to yourself, and you may also wish to appoint a separate digital executor from your, the rest of your assets, your physical assets, because you might want to use, or the person that you've already, or the firm that you already use, maybe they're not as tech savvy, so you want to find a specialist just for your digital assets.
Oh, okay.
That's an option as well. So so there's a good way to do it as well.
So should somebody be worried about this? Do you feel like there's sufficient support out there for people to do this without, becoming overly concerned? All you got to do is just pull together all the information that you just described, and then either seek a professional intervention to help you to disseminate this information, or if you're tech savvy enough as it is now, you can create correct me if I'm wrong, Joel, an Excel sheet, put in all of your accounts, usernames, passwords, and what they mean, and leave it with the family member to say, right, this is how it's going to be. There's 5 of you, and I've got 50 accounts. You're getting this XYZ. Simple as that.
I think something's better than nothing.
Yep.
And I think that there's not enough people out there that's thinking about this or taking it into consideration when it comes to anything to do with wills and what's going to happen to your digital assets, in the event of passing, which is one reason that I think it's good to cover it tonight and raise awareness of it and just remind people, you know what, you're sitting on a lot. Your digital footprint's big, and something's going to need to happen with it.
Sometimes it's not enough just to give, like you were saying earlier on. You can't just. It's not enough just to give someone a username and password. With some assets, you can't do that. You have to prove, that the steps that you mentioned before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what we're saying then is take it seriously. Try and do this as soon as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And there is support out there. But I like what Joel said, actually, which is something's better than nothing. Because if I fast forward, even myself, I mean, I can't imagine leaving my family in this situation where they can't access anything. That would be far worse than anything else. So, okay, thanks for that, guys. I really appreciate that. I hope you enjoyed this topic as well at home. It's really, really important. From the research we've done, there's definitely lots of other organizations, people, journalists and so on who've written about this. Do look into this. This is definitely part of our generation and beyond. So thank you very much for that. Now we're rolling into our second topic, which is the cyber, I can't even lost my ability to speak. Cyber security tips of the week. Now here's a fun fact for you. Every 39 seconds there is a hacker attack. So it's really important to stay, and share essential cybersecurity tips so you can take control of your digital assets now. And I am enthused and happy and overjoyed that Joel is here because he is our resident cybersecurity expert, and hopefully he'll be sharing some much needed tips that will help give you encouragement and secure your life.
That's right, yes. First of all, good. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I've already got you. So this is not a new thing. This is something that is started in 2016, 2017.
How did you get me like that? I've just fallen for his trap.
Yeah, just fallen for your trap. Fallen for my trap. And I knew you would do, because it's instinctive to say yes when someone asks you something like, can you hear me? So in 2016, 2017, there was a lot of telephone scammers that were using that and getting you to say yes. And then what they were then doing is, because they'd captured you saying yes, they could then re-record you accepting terms and conditions or reverse charge calls and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. But that's now actually having a massive resurgence. Okay. So I felt it was appropriate to bring it up tonight just to warn anyone that if they have a crank call from anyone, especially an unknown number, if you answer an unknown number, if that person immediately starts with a question, are you a homeowner? Yes. Can you hear me? It's the most common one. Yes. And as soon as they've soundbited you saying yes over the phone, they will then use that to, again, superimpose your yes at the end of terms and conditions for purchases or like reverse charge calls and things like that.
That's scary.
One to look out for is, if someone...
very useful information.
Can I just say, Joe, I love the way you trapped me. Because I looked at you for a second, the way you did it, I was like, huh? And then, oh, wow.
So really, anybody can use you now for...
They can? Yeah. Yeah, they can.
Just go to YouTube.
Oh my God. Oh wow, that's scary, Joel. That is really scary.
Yeah. So it's making a bit of a resurgence. So it's a bit of an old one, but it is making a resurgence. There's been quite a bit of coverage on it in the media over the last couple of weeks, basically saying that the just say yes scammers are back and doing the rounds.
Getting very inventive, aren't they?
But you were smiling too much as you were saying that.
Was I?
Yeah. Okay, what else do we have?
So the other thing we have as well is a bit of a weird one, but yesterday was actually known as World Password Day, where the cybersecurity industry tries and promotes healthy, secure passwords.
Wow,
as well.
First time I've heard that.
Yep. So
is that in your last pass?
Sorry.
What is?
What he just said about the password.
No, not heard anything about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, they've not done a very good job.
Surprised even at work as well. Yeah.
So what I've just got some very quick tips from that, just to talk about, again, talking about safer passwords and what people should be considering to do when it comes to more secure passwords. So a couple of primary rules are length and complexity. So strong password should be at least 12 characters long, including a mix of lowercase and uppercase numbers and symbols, things like that. Makes it more difficult for someone to crack. Avoid using any personal information. So that's even things like your favourite football team, your pet's name, anything to do with your name, anything to do with family member, anything to do with where you live, because that's all easily, that's all over your Facebook page. So I could guess a password, based on your football team and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes though, so length and complexity can be difficult to remember. So then you end up writing it down in Excel or whatever, and then when your machine gets hacked, someone looks at your password Excel on your desktop and gets all your passwords. So length and complexity can actually be helped by something that we talked about earlier, which was a utilising of a password manager. So again, Apple provide one. There are other ones that are available on the market as well. They will give you a long, complex password, and they will normally as well automatically enter that into a password field or a username field or whatever automatically when you're browsing the internet. If you want to create a master password, though, something that you can remember, it's always good to use something like a passphrase. So that's a series of sort of words that don't make a coherent sentence. So they can just be 3 random words. Sort of like a fruit, a colour, and then
I think I know where you're going with this. I think this is what I do as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
I use 5 words.
You can put a number at the back of that, and then some sort of symbol as well.
You pick your own random letters out of them words.
Yeah. So you can remember that easier as well. Yeah. So example we've got here.
How do you remember this stuff? Wow.
So last episode, selective memory.
So
it's actually quite impressive, Sham.
Yeah, so if anyone's unsure about what we mean by a passphrase, something like blue banana window spoon, you've got 4 words there.
Yeah.
And blue banana window spoon, if you spell each one of those with a capital letter, then that's the uppercase side of things sorted.
Yeah.
If you then put an arbitrary number on the back of it, I don't know, 1985 or whatever it might be, and then you can finish it with some sort of punctuation like an exclamation mark or question mark or whatever.
Or even like in the word blue, you can flip the E for a 3.
You can flip the B for an 8 or...
that kind of make it easier for you to remember.
The A for a 4 or something along those kind of lines. But if you can work into it, but if you've got some sort of nonsensical word that's far easier to remember, blue banana window spoon, is easier to remember as a password than A, G, uppercase Y, lowercase f, 9, Z. It's far easier to remember. Now, utilising a password manager, you can have passwords like that because they're stored digitally, but you still need master passwords for your password manager. You still need a master password for various other things as well. So using a passphrase in that would be a good idea.
Password. You want a super password, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
So I think what helps as well that you don't use. So say you use, like you said, you got the words. Don't put the whole word into the password. Just pick out like 3 letters from a word or something like that. Because then when you look at the password when you've got one, it does not make any sense at all. It just looks like random letters and numbers and symbols.
Yes, yeah. You can misspell a word as long as you remember how you've misspelled it. You can take the premise of those 3 basic words and manipulate them how you want, and you'll still create yourself a more memorable password, but one that's secure. And it's because it's memorable and secure, you're less likely to write it down in an Excel sheet somewhere and store it on your desktop, which is like super bad practice, and so you definitely shouldn't be doing that with your passwords.
And it's less likely that you need to change it as often as well.
It's less likely, yeah. So if your password is actually secure to start with, there's actually no reason really to change it more often. If you get a notification like Akeel had that is potentially being compromised somewhere, then obviously, go ahead and do that. If you then combine that with something like multi-factor authentication, which is where you're using something like a code sent to you via text message or a code that's randomly generated in an authenticator app, then again, that adds as a second layer. So if you've got websites out there that are offering you multi-factor authentication as part of their security, or it might be called 2FA. Yeah, 2FA, MFA are a couple of things that they use as well. Then definitely take advantage of that and get that set up. We mentioned it a few weeks ago, but again, I'll just quickly mention it again now, and that's also passkeys. So passkeys is sort of set to replace passwords and all of this kind of complexity, all in one go. And that uses a series of encrypted algorithms where instead of using a password to enter into the web page, you'll actually just authenticate directly on your phone using your biometrics or something along those kind of lines. So that all nicely circles back to the topic of today's show, which is your digital afterlife and stuff. So if you've got it all really clamped down and you're using passkeys, you're using 2-factor authentication, you've made yourself super secure online, then there is a question on how you can securely involve other people within your digital world, within your digital footprint, at the time of your passing and stuff. But again, most major companies out there, your Googles, your Apples and people like that do have processes in place to unlock that when, in the event of your passing, whether it's death certificates and proving who you are. And we talked about that earlier on in the show.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Joel. Again, taking back to our main topic of the evening as well, I'm starting to think that there will have to be some. If you're going to pass on some of this information while you're alive, there will have to be some lacks in this security to do that. But a lot of us are actually using 2FA and MFA, aren't we? Whether personal and careers and so on. I appreciate that. Okay, so we're heading over now to the third topic of the evening, which is our cool, funny tech stories of the week. Now, did you know that the first computer virus was created in 1983 and was called the Elk Cloner?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Oh, man, you probably weren't even born then, Joel. 1983. I must have been about 95 then. And using floppy disks.
Do you remember those?
Oh, floppy disks. I remember actually thinking about floppy disks. I'd have a box of these things at home. I got a new one in it. Anyway, going back in I need to defrag my hard drive. Moving on, batting over to Sham there. What have you got for me? I know you're itching for this.
It's a good segue. You mentioned floppy drives and all that. It's optical data storage.
Okay.
So, it used to be, it was all the rage back in the 90s and 2000s. You must remember CDs, DVDs, and, Blu-rays and all that.
I'm too young for that.
Yeah, of course. You don't know anything about Blockbuster or anything like that.
Nothing, I don't. Yeah. Choices.
So these were made by lasers encoding data directly onto the disk, and then using a laser to read it again as well.
Okay.
While the disk was spinning. So the issue with this was that it couldn't hold that much data, and you could just buy an external hard drive as well then, and it was like something like a terabyte for $70, especially now. So that obviously is the better option and an easier option. But new researchers in the University of Shanghai Institute of Optics and Mechanics, and some other Chinese institutions announced recently that they have developed an ultra-transparent film called, it's a really mad name, Aggregation-Induced Emission Dye-Doped Photoresist.
What?
For short, it's AIE-DDPR. So it's not the best acronym, like DVD is not the best acronym, but yeah.
Catchy.
What did he say?
He said catchy.
Catchy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So basically what they do is, so this is the interesting part. So what they've done is they've thickened the disk itself with many more layers. So I think it's up to 100 layers, using molecules to absorb light on a nanoscale. So instead of relying on wavelengths of light, this is creating data a tenth of the size of the light used to make it, which allows for information to be more densely stored on the we're talking on the petabit level.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, like a petabit is the equivalent to 125,000 gigabytes.
Wow.
Yeah. So on one disk we're talking. Okay.
Wow.
So if you use this,
sorry, Sean. We're in that reality now.
Yeah. So this is something that's coming, and so if you. Just to give you an idea, if you use the old highest density of optical discs, so you're not your old standard DVDs and so on, to get the equivalent, you'd have to have a 6-foot high pile of discs. So that's the same as probably about your height.
For one of those?
Yeah, for one of those new ones, yeah.
Wow.
So what they did was they managed to put 1.6 petabits of data on one disk, which is more than the world's largest hard drive, which at the moment is a $40,000 Goliath, which can hold up to 100 terabytes. This one, 1.6 petabits on one disk.
This sounds really expensive, by the way.
So and insanely, you're looking at only around 6 minutes to manufacture these, each disk. Yeah.
I kind of want to hope I live a bit longer now.
And it's going to be in a similar fashion to how DVDs were made.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The implications are wide on this.
First of all, can I take my hat off to you and say to you that is a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
And it goes to show you, doesn't it, how scientists in the world are working on these things to benefit humanity ultimately. Mm-hmm. Because what's the biggest currency in the world? Data.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Well done. You better. What have you got in the locker? Because you know what he's done? He's had 2 weeks away, hasn't he? And do you remember the week before he came out? And he had this crazy story, right? And no one could beat it. So I have a feeling when he does his research, he's like, let me find the most obscure but coolest story on the internet. And then he comes in, he's like, oh, he goes first. He goes, beat that.
Okay, well, we'll see. So what I've gone for this week is something called A2RL. Which is...
Oh, my God, that was my next story.
Was it?
Oh, my God. Really
Do you
good.
see this?
This is really good, interesting. Really
This is Autonomous Racing League.
Yes.
Run by competition 9 teams, and they ran their first race last weekend.
Yes.
So these are completely driverless cars. They are not being controlled by someone remotely. They haven't got drivers in. They're using a combination of GPS, cameras, LiDAR, radar, and AI to drive the cars and race against each other themselves. Now, we have seen in America, obviously, Tesla has self-driving cars, and there's some sort of self-driving Ubers and that kind of thing. But these ones are actually racing against each other, and this was happened in Abu Dhabi, at the Yas Marina circuit.
Saturday.
Interestingly,
did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched some of it.
It's early days. It's still early days.
So there was a lot of bad press afterwards because there was cars driving the wrong way around the track. There was cars bumping into each other, which they shouldn't have been able to do, and quite a lot of things. But my reply to those kind of haters is when the car first came out, it would go walking speed.
Yeah.
So this is absolutely groundbreaking tech, and in another 100 years' time, from when the car was first invented, we've got cars now that can go faster than the speed of sound. Yeah. So what we actually saw this weekend, I think, was an actual complete
it's a precursor.
Yeah, it's a complete triumph.
Yeah.
These people got together and actually made this happen.
There's quite a few factors as well, because they never got to, it's not like they were able to test beforehand.
No.
So these engineers were given like a framework or that they could use. So they were all had the same vehicle. It's like, I think it's called the Japanese. It's using the Japanese some competition called a Dallara Super Formula SF23.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these can go up to 186 miles an hour. But there was a limit on these, and majority of there was the qualifiers first, weren't there? And then there was the main competition.
You can see this on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's all on YouTube.
Extreme
fully
free
on there. It's really long because a lot of it, and like we were saying, a lot of it, they had to go at the safety speed as well because of something going wrong. So at one point, what happened? This is not in the qualifiers, but in the actual competition, there was 4 cars. I think it was 4 cars that were going around, and the lead car was going well. And for some reason, I don't know why, it was going around a bend, and then suddenly it just slammed its brakes, spun out of control, and then just stopped. Now the car behind it came. Slowed down, thought, okay, well, what do I do here? Gone around it, got a bit further, then thought, okay, I don't know what to do now. It just panicked and just stopped.
Yeah.
And then the cars behind it, they came, and then so it looked like in the coding, they worked out how to maneuver while the cars are maneuvering. There's a car moving in front of them, but not when there was one stationary. So I think that's what threw it, and then they all stuck there, and then they had to restart it, and then they had it going again.
This sounds like a really good beta test, though.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah,
all that data they would have taken from that.
But
okay.
So here's the really cool thing that came from it. Not only does it have massive potential because what limits racing cars at the moment is neck strength, is what the human body can endure lap after lap, and the speed and stuff like that. But if they start to get this technology right, we could see some really crazy fast races, and that'd be so cool. Yeah. But what they have done, and what they have really driven forward with, is the fan interaction. The fan interaction was, I watched a separate program about it, was just absolutely totally cutting edge. So quite a lot of the fan interaction could actually be done via VR. Mm-hmm. And you could, through your VR headset, you could actually drive like an avatar car against some of the real life cars.
Oh, wow.
as
that
a
is
ghost
cool.
car.
That is insane.
You can, you had almost kind of like unlimited backstage access as well. So you were almost like your own director. So you could switch to whatever camera you wanted straight from. You had loads of heads-up display stuff about what the cars are doing and where they are on track and all that kind of stuff as well. Yeah,
really cool
so
stuff.
The tech that they were pushing for the fans' interaction, I'd love to see that taken into more mainstream motorsport kind of things at the moment as well. That was really, really impressive.
Wow. Okay, has anybody got anything? A short story.
Short one.
Yeah, unbelievably, we're almost at the end of the show. It's flown by.
Yeah, not well. I don't know if did you see the new Boston Dynamics robot?
The what? Sorry.
Boston Dynamics, their new robot.
Oh, they're the ones that do the little robot dogs and the walking.
Yeah.
They do the parkour robots and stuff.
They've got a new version out. They showed a video clip of it. Oh my god! It just looked. It doesn't. So it was it's just only a short clip, and then they show it. It's like an upgraded one. The old one had cables, and it was quite big, fat, and cagey. This one's more streamlined. It looks like something out of the movies with a round head as well. But it was the way it got up, and it got up in a way. So it's a humanoid in form, but the way it got up was not like a human.
Right.
So it was on the floor, and it like backwards flipped and turned up. It just used its joints and hinges in a totally different way than a human would.
Sounds like it would breakdance itself onto its feet.
Yeah, mate, it was something quite scary actually.
I thought you were going to say it's going to get up like a human by going, oh, my back.
Yeah. It honestly reminded me of remember the old that movie iRobot thing?
Yeah, iRobot. Yeah.
Yeah, them kind of things. It was on that kind of level.
I thought you were in iRobot.
Yeah.
So instead of making it more humanoid, they sort of said, well, hang on a second, why do we need to make a bipedal robot that moves like a human, which is what everybody seems to be trying to achieve. You know, when you see the sort of like the robots that are capable of doing a little bit parkour, and even back 20 years ago, you know, you had a robot that was bipedal and it had human type joints and it moved. You want it to move like a human, but instead what they've done is they've said, right, we'll still make a bipedal robot which looks humanoid, but we're going to make it move the most efficient way.
Yeah, and none of the restriction of a human. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
because the first one sort of pretty much mimicked a human, the way a human moved. Yeah. This new one doesn't. Yeah, it's gone beyond that. So yeah.
Wow. And I mean, obviously, we know about Boston Dynamics. They're always producing these amazing robots as well. Listen, guys, thank you very much for that. That wraps up our discussion for today. We hope you found our topics engaging and insightful. And once again, thanks for tuning into the Tech Factor. Join us again in 2 weeks' time for more tech adventures. But do remember one thing from today's show, though. Do take care of your digital afterlife. Take it seriously. Take action. Do it now. Thank you.
Stay tuned to Salaam Radio after this short ad break.